There's a shot.
That might be.
Good, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us. Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with a special edition. I have none other than AD Drew of the Sports Wrap. And we're bringing you a special interview. Yes, I did say special because there's certain people that get that nod, and that is none other than Mr. Jasher Cox. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my friends, and I appreciate you guys allowing me to join today. That's one heck of an introduction now. I appreciate that.
Oh, that's what we do. That's what we do. With that being said, let me jump right in here. And for those that do not know about Jasher Cox, for whatever reason that you haven't been keeping up with HBCU sports, he goes back a little while. Before he got in the foray with the SIC, he snuck around and put in some work at the SWAC office. But I won't spoil the people with everything in terms of just taking you all the way back. In fact, we'll let you do the spoils. For those that are not aware of where you came from, tell them about that. And for some, we'll just be reintroducing. As we said, let me reintroduce myself. Go ahead, Josh.
Right. No, you're right. And I appreciate that. I really cut my teeth at Alabama State University, working in media relations and serving as an assistant administrator in a couple of roles at that institution. So the SWAC is where it all started, and it started at Alabama State University. After that, I was able to transition to the league office, and Commissioner Dewar Sharp at the time gave me an opportunity to work in similar areas in media relations and athletic communications. And then I took on another role as an associate commissioner at the Horizon League in Indianapolis, Indiana, which was a heavy basketball league. As you guys know, those are the teams that usually ruin your bracket during March Madness. But that was a great opportunity out there. Those are the ones that you don't really think to pick on that first Thursday slate of games during the NCAA tournament. And then I was able to come back to the state of Alabama and work with, I call him Slate Dog, Willie Slater, served as his associate AD at Tuskegee University, and that was a great time. In my first year, they were able to win the SIAC in football, and so I tell people I'm likely not here in this chair as athletic director. And the previous stint at Lincoln Memorial University, of course, I most recently served as athletic director out there. It was a great time. Men's basketball was in the Final Four 3 out of the last 5 years. It is a powerhouse out there with men's basketball. Great facilities. Thoroughly enjoyed my time there as I transitioned honorably from LMU. But I tell people all the time, I'm likely not in this seat as an athletic director if it's not for Willie Slater. You gave me a chance to serve as his assistant athletic director. And at the time, really didn't know me from a can of paint. He just trusted his gut. And so I tried to do everything I could to make him look good. And hopefully I did that for not only him, the department, but Tuskegee University. But now back to the SIAC. Certainly thrilled to be working with Dr. Ernest McNeely, the godfather of a lot of presidents and chancellors across the country, is what he's known for, and also get a chance to work with Commissioner Moore in the SIAC.
Wow, that's a heck of an introduction. This world, as you talk about, is really small in a lot of ways. And I'll let my colleague AD Drew get in here because he'll talk about just how small this world is in terms of sports is connected. But before I do that, I do want to give you one more chance to give a shout out to where you're actually from, because you know these people here like to represent, as you talk about HBCUs. So let them know where you're actually from, city, born, or state. Connect those dots before I let AD Drew jump in here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you asking. I'm from a small town called Notasulga, and it sits between Tuskegee and Auburn. Auburn University is where I did my undergraduate, but yeah, really and truly, Tuskegee is home. That's where it starts. I'm a Macon County native, and I do not take that for granted. So, you know, again, a lot of people, when I first took the job at Tuskegee, you know, my Alabama State brethren said, "Hey, man, you turn your back on us." But really and truly, that's where the backyard was. You know, my mother served 45 years at a Veteran Affairs hospital, which basically sits on the campus of Tuskegee. Wow. That's all I knew. So, yeah, that's home for me.
No doubt. I appreciate you sharing that. Really like to make the connection as we do it. As I said, this is a special interview with Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson, Charles Bishop, teaming up with none other than Sports Rap with Brian and AD. With that said, let me let AD jump in here.
And it's interesting, Dr. Cavil, that you mentioned that small world, because that's the connection Jasher and I have. His high school, where he graduated from, Notasulga High School, is where I had my last high school coaching stint at after I left Tuskegee University. Obviously, we didn't cross paths in high school when he was long gone as a student. I had left the university as a coach by the time he became the sports information director and assistant athletic director there. But we crossed paths many a times at Tuskegee University, and we called each other. Sometimes we talked to each other more than we talked to our wives at that point in time, helping him out and assisting him with some of the tasks that he needed to do at Tuskegee University. So there's that connection that Jasher and I have. So
yeah, I'll be honest, you know, I was worried about game day operations and scores tables type things, you know, for men's and women's basketball at Tuskegee. And a gentleman that worked right next to my office, and Nick Brown, said, "Hey, call his number, AD Drew, call him." And so I called Drew, and I'm begging and pleading, and Drew, with his calm demeanor, said, "Don't worry about it. I got you. I'll be there on game day." And that's all I had to worry about. And from that point, he took care of everything that we needed. Awesome. So he was super hospitable.
That's awesome.
I leaned on Drew heavy, that's for sure. And he knows it.
Yes. I appreciate it. You know, when you left and went to Lincoln Memorial, you know, I felt I had about that much to do with it, because I helped you look good, which helped Coach Slater look good, which put you in the position to move on. So congratulations on your new venture.
Thank you.
But I want to get into that Lincoln Memorial, and then your time at the Horizon League. Yeah. You grew up basically on the campus of an HBCU, went to HWCU for your secondary education. So you bounced back and forth between the two. Obviously, we know which experience that you like the most, because if not, you wouldn't have came back. But for those who do not understand, tell us what some of the big differences were between your HWCU experience and your HBCU experience in some of the jobs that you have had.
Well, the one thing, you know, both sides have in common is you got student athletes that they're coming for the same goal. They're coming to graduate, obtain a degree, and they want to be able to compete. And they want to be able to compete in nice facilities. They want to have nice things. They want to know that they've got faculty and staff that cares about them. So that's the one common thing you have wherever you decide to go. But again, thoroughly enjoyed my time at Lincoln Memorial. Again, it's in Harrogate, Tennessee. It sits on the state line of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Virginia. So you're on the far east corner of the state. And I'm telling you, you need a mountain goat and a compass to get there. It is not an easy track. But once you get there, I like to describe the campus as pristine. I mean, it is a gorgeous campus, great facilities. You couldn't ask for much more. You know, you've got all the bells and whistles that you really need out there. It is a Division II school, but it operates like almost a Division I machine. No question about that. But I was thrilled to have been contacted from representatives from the league office and Allen University to tell me more about them. And so it was a no-brainer when I learned what was going on and what some of the things that they're trying to bring to fruition out here. It was a no-brainer for me to try to be a part of it. So I'm more than blessed to have this opportunity to be able to sit in this seat and serve our student athletes and this great institution here at Allen University.
Now, talk a little bit about that. Let's get into that. Let's go directly to it.
Sure.
Why Allen University?
Yeah. And so Dr. McNeely has a vision. And so when people ask why Allen University, why not? So we're migrating out of NAIA and we're in a provisional period now of joining the NCAA D2, similar to what you've seen with Edward Waters University. So it's a great time right now. And, you know, you hang your hat on the small things. You know, when I first got here, men's and women's cross country competed at an event, and they were the first set of athletes to compete as certified NCAA athletes. So after all of that hard work, all of these meetings with the NCAA trying to identify if you're ready or not, well, you're ready because you've already competed, and you competed under the guidelines of the NCAA governing body. So having a chance to help this institution transition out of this phase, that's something that I'm able to put a feather up under my cap, of course. And, you know, we move on. Again, Dr. McNeely's leadership is incredible, an extremely intelligent man. So you just can't tell him anything and think that you'll get away with it and he'll just click approve. You got to be able to have a button down plan before you walk into his office. And listen, I'm learning every day that I'm here. You know, the last meeting I had with him, just before leaving that meeting, he tells me that he's got some books for me that he wants me to read, and he's already purchased them. So you never stop learning out here. And again, how can you go against that?
That's what make Dr. Cavil feel good as a professor over there, giving out homework, extra homework, as we like to say.
That's right.
No doubt about it, AD. And I was going to get into that. I was going to give some of the lab listeners out there, as they know, in this special edition, a little bit of homework. But before I do the homework, if you would, let's tease that out a little bit. You've seen both sides of it. Not only, as Drew said, from the historically white college perspective, historically black college, but also in terms of being from the conference office versus being on campus. So tell us a little bit, when you talk about being under the direction of a significant president, a great president that has a great mind of understanding the landscape of higher education. Us out here oftentimes as fans, or even myself as a professor that gets to quasi fit in these molds at different times, we don't always get the chance to take the deep dive and understand why it's important to make that connection between what does it mean to have a significant president, chancellor, if you would, and whether that's from a conference office or from an institution. What does that really look like, and what do you mean when you say great leadership?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I appreciate you asking that. And first of all, great leadership is when you work for someone that allows you to have a voice, right? Not only in just athletics, but I've had some jobs in the corporate world where you've got leaders that if they want your opinion, they'll give it to you. But it's imperative for me at this age and at this stage in my career for me to be able to be a part of a plan, be a part of a process where the ideas are welcome. I've been some places where that has not always been the case, and I'll never call any institution out, but I'm part of the president's extended cabinet. And the overwhelming majority of the institutions now, the athletic director is faced where they report to a vice president who reports to the vice president, which means you're not a part of the president's extended cabinet.
That's right.
That's not the case out here at Allen University. In this ecosystem, the AD does report directly to the president, and you're a part of the president's cabinet. That means a lot to me. And so, again, ideas are welcome. You're a part of what's happening in terms of, what we're dealing with institutionally. And then you get a chance to disseminate that messaging back to your coaches and help them understand why the reason may be no, And so sometimes Coaches will assume certain things, but what I always tell them, if the answer is no, sometimes, hey, you know what you know, but you don't know what I know. And because of that, I'm not always able to share, but I can help you out and we can come up with a plan B. I'm not able to do that if I'm not a part of the president's cabinet.
I really appreciate you sharing that insight. It is so important for fans and for our young students, because you work with interns and people are always trying to get into business. And I know people ask you maybe to mentor them and things of that nature. And the fact that you took the time to really break that down in terms of, you know, even the nuances of being the athletic director, VP of athletics is some of the new terms we see, especially when those individuals are part of the president's cabinet. And the ability to report, and not only report, but sit at the table, literally where decisions are being made versus being outside of the table and seeking to have influence. There's a different perspective, and that is highly important. And thank you for sharing it. Let's take our first break. This is midway through. As we get in a little more in this detail, we'll get a little bit more about Allen University and what's going on behind the scenes. Excited. You all don't realize that they joined the SIAC, making that transition. So a lot of excitement is going on in South Carolina on the campus of Allen University. And now they just landed Jasher Cox, the new athletic director. So you know it's going to go down. This is Dr. Cavil inside HBCU Sports Lab with Sports Wrap in terms of AD Drew and Brian, all under the BCSN umbrella. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this quick break.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network. Online at www.mybcsn.net and on the BCSN app available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time. I'm proud and I love my HBCU. HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time. I'm proud and I love my HBCU.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. No, not on that show. We're partnering for a special edition of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, where we're partnering with Brian and AD of the Sports Wrap, and we have AD. He's on the line, so we're going to go right back to him. What are we doing? We have a special edition where we're interviewing the new athletic director at Allen University, Mr. Jasher Cox. AD, take it away. Well, while we doing that.
All right.
Go ahead, AD.
Sorry about that. Jasher, you took that job over officially a couple of weeks ago, but you had to keep everything quiet. And then you were blessed with not only your cross country team competing as an NCAA Division II program, but you've already been blessed with your first victory in football. So just kind of tell us how it's been for you there those first couple of weeks and the excitement that you have and then some of the other people
Man, he
have.
got that rabbit foot. He can't tell us all the secrets, but give us what you can. And you got the magic touch. Come on.
Well, listen, the secret sauce is your coaching. And first of all, I think we've already got fantastic coaching, and that was here prior to my arrival. Teddy Keaton is no stranger, and this is not his first rodeo to not only intercollegiate athletics, but this is not his first rodeo coaching football. So an extremely bright mind as it comes to X's and O's, and he's done a fantastic job of building his staff and then allowing his staff to do their jobs. And so, yeah, that was one heck of a come from behind victory against another well-established Division II program out of Charlotte and Johnson C. Smith. They were incredibly hospitable, by the way, the staff at Johnson C. Smith. And we enjoyed the trip a lot more after being able to walk away with a victory, that's for sure.
I know those W's are so sweet. They're so sweet. Yeah. And I tell you on this side, as we're west, as we talk about a lot of HBCUs, we love throwing up that W sign when you talk about the West. And sometimes people don't understand. We're not talking about the West side. We're talking about W. We want
absolutely. W. Hey, listen, people are a lot more friendly in Walmart. Your food tastes a lot better on Sundays. I mean, everything works better when you win.
Before we take a deeper dive into Allen University and see what's new, let's talk about the SISC, that connection. What are your thoughts in terms of being able to now go into SISC? It's growing, it's expanding. It's a great time. You know, a lot of folks are sneaking over there talking about the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Quietly is kept, and I want to make sure it's not that quiet. The SIC, Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, is really doing some great things under the Commissioner Moore and his leadership, and the presidents, as well as the athletic directors like yourself. The league is now 15. Some thoughts, maybe even some more expansion going over, breaking up in division, further breaking it down. What do you think thoughts about being in the SIC and the crosstown rival of Claflin University?
Yeah, it starts again with leadership. You know, Commissioner Greg Moore has done terrific things in the SIAC. And so it starts at the top. You look at some of the bells and whistles he's been able to hire and some of the things he's been able to implement since his arrival. And it's incredible. And off subject, slightly off subject, did you see his interview with CNN as we were talking about the global pandemic? Oh. Yeah, absolutely. Listen,
you talking about the nail on the head.
If you have not seen that interview, you need to go back and check it out. And it was right around simultaneously when the league came out with its mandates of requiring its student athletes to be vaccinated prior to competing. And of course, nationally, it got some traction, some good, some negative, but his interview on CNN, like you said, to put the nail in the coffin, it solidified everyone's thoughts. It's an incredible interview. I encourage you to go back and search for it. But yeah, it starts with his leadership. And let's be honest, we've got a lot of great minds as athletic directors and senior women's administrators in the SIAC. So talented leadership. And what I enjoy most about it is it's not a league where people make excuses. You got a lot of people with doubling roles. You got head football coaches and athletic directors. You got head women's basketball coaches that are SWAs, but the train continues to roll along.
Great points when you talk about that. Before I let AD jump right back in there, I want to follow up a little bit more in regards to Allen University specifically. The SIC is in its own little arms race. I mean, Ever Waters, new facilities. You hear Miles College moving forward with facilities propping up all over the SIC. New fields, a lot of good things are happening, new sports in terms of men's volleyball. What's on the horizon? What can you tell us about Allen University, its athletic department, and what are not just currently what's going on as you talk about, what are some new things that you may have out?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that question. I can't spill the tea right yet, but just understand.
Okay. That make sure when you do, one of the first places you come to is the BCSN, whether it's on Sports Rap with Brian and AD, or Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We won't hold it against you. If you hold it now, as long as you come back to us, fair game.
I got you. Fair enough. I appreciate that. Yeah, so we've got some things coming to fruition at some point with facility upgrades. I can't speak specifically. Just
That's
no
no problem, but you heard it here first.
That's right. That's
Maybe
right.
some facilities in the works, whether it's upgrades or new. Y'all
That's
stick
right.
with it and keep over there looking at Allen University, and you'll
That's
hear
correct.
more. Go ahead.
That's correct. That's correct. So prospects out there, listen, doesn't matter when you shop us, just make sure you shop us and you don't want to miss out. So there are going to be some things coming around here that I'll be able to speak publicly about in the days, months ahead, perhaps. But exciting news out here, and trust me, that's one of the reasons why I was able to make this easy decision, to make this easy transition out here to Allen University, because of our leadership and some of the things that we've got underway. But here's one thing that I can speak to you about, and it has nothing to do with athletics here on campus. It's just prideful to me. There is a hospital that once served African Americans when no other hospital in the city of Columbia would, and it's called Waverly. It operated in the early 1950s and closed down. And it had taken a long hiatus, an abandoned building right here that sits on campus. With Dr. McNeely under his leadership, he's decided to gut it out, and he's transitioning it and totally revitalizing the Waverly building. And it's going to end up being some type of memorial to reflect back on those same leaders that once ran that hospital. And it's going to be incredible. I encourage you to look it up and read the story. It's bone chilling. So make sure you Google Waverly Hospital, Allen University, and it'll bring up the latest stories. But that's one thing I can talk about, and it's actively underway right now.
Oh, that's fascinating and extremely important. So I'm glad that you shared that with us.
Yeah.
With that, before we let you get out of here, let me let AD ask a follow-up question, and then we'll let you move forward, because we know you have a busy schedule, but we thank you for your time. Go ahead, AD.
All right, Jack. Allen University, when you look at Allen geographically on the map, there are about 6 HBCUs within a 1 hour or so radius of Allen University. You got Benedict right across the street from you. You've got South Carolina State and Claflin in Orangeburg, which is just over an hour away from you. You've got Voorhees about an hour away from you. And if things don't work out at those schools, I got Denmark Tech right across the street from Voorhees. So with all that being said, how did you help distinguish Allen University from the glutton of HBCUs that you have right there in that region in South Carolina?
Yeah, the best thing I can say is there's newness around here. There's newness with leadership. There's newness with additional programs, as we've added women's soccer. We've added wrestling in recent years. Baseball may be coming down the pipe at some point. And so there's newness all around the campus. And, Commissioner Greg Moore also said this. He asked me this. He challenged me and he asked this question. He said, hey, if you had an opportunity to take over a Major League Baseball program, who do you go with, the Yankees or the Marlins? And I'm sitting here with the Yankees. And he says, no, you go with the Marlins because you get a chance to do something different. You get a chance to add something that no one else has done before. So that's where we are. We're in a transitional phase. We're in a building phase, and we're in a phase where ideas are welcome by institutional leadership. So that sets us apart from most of the institutions that you mentioned there, AD Drew.
Oh, I love that perspective. I love that answer. Great question, AD. You brought that out. I like that. Jasher Cox, we're gonna have to invite you on more often. This is good. But
I've been waiting on it. Hey, listen, I want to get in on the predictions. Listen, I tap in on my phone and I watch you guys live. I'll be a guest.
Oh yeah, we'll bring you on. We'll have you pick the game of the week or something like that. We'll make sure.
It's not my school.
We just want to have a pick. Yeah, we're not gonna let you predict any SIAC schools, because if you do and you wrong, then they're gonna try to run the score up against you if they get the lead. So we'll let you pick the other 3 conferences.
That's right.
No, we know what we're doing. We won't set you up. Maybe just a little bit, but no, not really. With that being said, before we let you go, we wanted to make sure we gave the floor to you. Anything that we did not ask that you want to show out there, obviously to the Allen fans, the alumni, make sure you speak to them.
Well, no, first of all, kudos to you guys. You know, I'm a firm believer in build it and they will come. And that's exactly what you've done with this show. So I can appreciate you featuring Black colleges and other member institutions within historically Black conferences and focusing on it. Rest assured, these schools deserve coverage, and there are places that could give them coverage that's in walking distance of these campuses, but for whatever reason, they do not. So I'm extremely grateful for what you do for not only the SIAC, but any other member institution that's an HBCU or that has HBCU member institutions or the governing bodies that are historically Black conferences as well. So thank you for what you do.
No problem with that. We really appreciate you taking out your time. Oftentimes people talk about wanting to get their information and their points out there, but sometimes it's really hard to connect with, for whatever reason, good or bad. We're not pointing fingers here, but the fact that you are on the front line and you help make us make this happen, we want to say thank you. Good luck moving forward. As they say, we go Allen University. Let's get this going, and we support the things that you go in there. With that being said, we'll tie it up. And that'll do it for us. This BCSN special edition, as you've heard our interview with the new athletic director at Allen University, Jasher Cox. I am Kenyatta Cavil. That's Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watts and Charles Bishop. We are teaming up with none other than Brian and AD of the Sports Wrap. Stick around with us. We'll tune out for a little bit. We'll be right back for our 6 o'clock show where we get in a little more of the sporting scene so we can talk about Allen University, what they're doing on the court, and the other HBCU programs. So don't go too far. We'll be right back at 6 o'clock. Thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed the interview.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download,